Hello, and welcome to Lives Not Labels Seeing Beyond Stigma, a podcast where stories come before stereotypes and people are always more than the labels placed on them. This podcast is centered on conversations with people who have lived experience, individuals who speak from their own journey, challenges, and growth. Through honest dialogue, we aim to amplify voices that are too often misunderstood, overlooked, or reduced to assumptions. This isn't just a podcast, it's an invitation to reflect, to empathize, and to see people as they truly are, to see them as lives, not labels. Thanks for listening.
How would you describe this season of your life in your own words?
The season of my life right now, I would say it is a time where where I'm taking things day by day, I guess. It's it's a one day at a time lifestyle right now. It's not thinking about big future plans. It's not thinking about yesterday's problems. It's just need to take one day at a time and enjoying the day that I have each day.
What has this experience been like for you, both practically and emotionally?
It has been a definitely a roller coaster of emotions. When you think things are good and steady, there's another storm coming. So it's so emotionally draining. Right now and that kind of goes with the one day at a time now. It's like lifestyle. Like that's because before early on in my partner's struggles and trying to work on his recovery, it was a lot of relapse, right? And the moment that you think that he's good and they're on the right track, and you start to think like, oh, we're good, our relationship's good, we're fine now, we're back to normal, let's keep planning our future together, let's keep planning family stuff, let's and then boom, it hits you again, and you're right back to, and it every time it happens, it hurts even more. But it is now, I'm starting to really have like small little epiphanies, and lately, like, that's something that I'm coming to realize, that you kind of have to be prepared, really, but live your life one day at a time, and that's it.
When did you realize this was something that was going to impact your life in a bigger way?
I will say I didn't realize it in the very beginning. Even in the beginning of our relationship, there was signs, and there was as like a partner with someone who has an addiction, like when you're so new to it too, when things start to sort of progress, you end up worrying a little bit more, but then you kind of push it aside because he's better again or they're better again for maybe a month, and then boom, another thing happens. And then in the beginning it was yeah, I guess it was a slow progression, and I didn't think at the time in the beginning it was a huge problem, but as time went on, I started to notice some patterns, and I was a little bit more on like high alert. And then when it got to a point where I was like, this is going to really impact me, my future, his future, our relationship, was, I guess, more recently when things got so bad to the point where it was almost every week he was going on a bender, or he was taking opioids, and it was almost every single day. And at this point, he sort of, he has a daughter, right? But at this point, he didn't really have, I wouldn't say, the custody, I guess, like, of his daughter. And that really, I think that kind of made things worse for him. Harder for him to like recover from all of that. And sometimes, you do have to kind of hit rock bottom. But yeah, no, I guess when it got so bad, I that's when I really realized that okay, now it's time to, I need to go seek help, because now I'm starting to realize that I'm not living my life the way that I'm supposed to. I'm coming home from work stressed out because I'm worried about my partner being high. I can't even focus at work. I am distracted all day. I'm calling this person, my partner, every hour. I'm checking their location on my phone. Like it became so obsessive. It became unmanageable. Really, it became so unmanageable. My life was becoming unmanageable because I wasn't realizing at the time that I don't have that control over somebody's alcoholism or addiction. I think that's sort of when I really realized that this was really impacting everything.
What has been the hardest part of loving somebody through an active addiction?
The hardest part, it is the lies. It's the deceit, because a lot of the time you feel like this is something that they're doing to you on purpose, but it is what it is, and it's at the end of the day it's nothing to do with you. It's all to do with them. They do tend to hurt the people that they love the most. And that's really, really, really hard. And it's a really hard pill to swallow. As partners, like as spouses, we just want our other partner to be loving, caring, trustworthy, and somebody who has addiction. It's a disease. It's a disease that you can't control. It's something that they have to control themselves. But that's the thing, it is a disease, and you kind of have to sort of change your mindset around that. You have to start to think like, okay, this person needs help. This person needs a lot of help right now.
Are there moments where you feel that you're holding on to two truths at once? Love and pain, hope and realism?
For sure, especially when it comes to hope and realism. I have all these hopes. I can't help it, like, when you marry somebody, you've all these hopes and dreams, and you're supposed to, like, plan your future with this person. You can't help but hope, or hold on to that hopes of what your future is going to be like with your person. You hope that things get back to normal, things get back to, things get to a calm, but then, realism does set in, and you have to be realistic about having a future with an addict. Sometimes you just don't really know either. Like, when they're doing good, it's great. It's really great. And the realistic part about it is that there's all these risks that are involved when it comes to, when you're married or you're with somebody who struggles with addiction. You risk being with somebody who, they fall into another relapse. There's that risk of being with somebody who could die at any moment. It does set in. That realistic, okay, now I need to really question, like, do I have a future with this person? Still, day by day, one day at a time. That is literally my mantra lately. And I think it will be for a while. I think it will be. Once I've reached a moment of calmness, I don't know, when I've reached a point to where I can easily take care of myself. Still struggling with that. And then there's love and pain. You love that person so much, but then you're in pain because you can't help but have resentments. You can't help that you resent the behaviors that they've had, and you're always, when you look at them, you're always reminded of the shit that they did. And it sucks, but now they're in a different stage of their life. And now they're on the point of recovery, moving forward. And so now you have to kind of look at them differently. You have to show them a little bit more compassion. You have to show them a little bit more love, even though it's hard.
What has support looked like to you personally?
I think at this stage, all I want, the type of support that I need when it comes to friends and family, what I really like to see people just sort of kind of giving me that space to, decide, make the decisions for myself and support me no matter what. I think, even though it's not easy for a friend to see them suffer and struggle, and to see that other partner like do these things. And I know that a lot of people have their opinions, right? And that's totally fair. But I'm the one that's sort of going through it. And I think if people don't really understand like what it's like to have a partner with addiction and see them struggle and try to be there for them, I just don't think they really have the right to say you shouldn't be with that person or just leave them, or I get it, but it's I have to be the decider, and I'm the expert in my own home, which is something that I've learned a lot in Al-Anon. And that's actually, Al-Anon is the support system that I really look to. Now, I know people aren't telling me exactly, they like in Al-Anon, they don't tell you what to do or how you should do things, right? They just give you the information, and they provide you with their experiences and the information that they have, and you can take whatever you want from it, whatever you feel like this might work or this might not work, or you learn from that, and you seek out the people who really, really, really understand your situation, and those people are the ones that I seek in Al-Anon, which is, it's been a great support system. But I think for anybody, friends and family, I think it's just, I do find it a little bit more challenging to go to them. I could speak to one person in particular, a family member that just hates my partner, hates him. And now that he's really effed up, okay, this is their time to say, leave him. But it's like constant. And you're like, okay, no, I can't deal with this. This feels much more toxic now. It puts so much pressure on me too. You start to feel like, oh, I'm letting all of my friends and family down, right? You feel like all this pressure's on you now to leave this person, but I just need to figure this out on my own. And the way that you can support me is just by just being there for me, I guess, and still show love and still show that you're a friend and a family member, and I don't know.
How has the Al-Anon group shaped your experience or perspective?
Oh my God, they're so welcoming. It's so lovely. I walked in those doors and I was bawling my eyes out, because I came to a point where I was like so desperate for help, and so desperate to seek out people who truly understand like what I'm going through. And immediately they start to share their stories, and you're like, yes, I am doing all the same things that you used to do. Like I still kind of do it, but like overanalyze everything. I'm watching his every fucking move. They say the exact same things. They sound crazy. You feel crazy, but you're not. You're really not. It's just the situation that you're in. And this is what it does to you. But I guess what's helped for me from Al-Anon is like, I learned a lot about, okay, stop focusing on the other person. You need to start focusing on yourself, and you need to start reflecting a little bit more. I mean, the 12 steps, or they have a 12-step program the same as AA does, and it's the same thing as the first step is basically realizing that you have no control over the alcohol and that your life has become unmanageable. And you start to really reflect on your behaviors and how it's affecting your person, like your partner, the addict, you kind of realize like, oh, this isn't helping. Me reading his every move or watching his every move, it's not help. It doesn't help. It doesn't help to yell at them. It doesn't help to tell them like, you're a terrible person. I'm the way that I am because of you. And so I'm sort of starting to realize that a bit more about myself and how the way that I need to approach how I think about things. But I'm so early on, and these people who've been in Al-Anon have been in Al-Anon for many, many years, and they seem like they've got their lives together. They really do. Any newcomer that walk in those rooms, they would think the exact same thing. But they were also in the exact same spot as I was once, you know?
What have you learned about boundaries through this process? And how do you navigate the balance between supporting someone and protecting yourself?
I think that one I still struggle with. I think because I don't just struggle with somebody who's an addict, but I also struggle with codependency. And that's something that happens quite a lot in relationships, especially with somebody who's an addict in the relationship. The other person develops this codependency, and it's, like your addiction is now the person that's an addict. So it's hard to set those boundaries. I do find it was very, very challenging, like, because you still love them, you want them there, you want to make sure that they're safe, but then they're also kind of like ruining a lot of things, they're really disrupting a lot of peace in your life. So you do have to set those boundaries. So the first time I started setting boundaries in my relationship I set up a meeting with a temporary sponsor from Al-Anon, and I met up with them at Starbucks, and we probably had almost a 3-hour conversation, and we just talked a lot about, like, basically boundaries and, what I need to do for myself and taking care of myself. But after that meeting that I had with them, I went back home, and I already knew that my partner was going to come home. Like, they were at an AA meeting. I knew that they were going to come home, and I knew that they were going to be high. So sure enough, they were high, and I just said to them, you need to leave. Like, I felt like I need to be in control of the situation. I can't let this person keeps doing this. They keep doing this. I just can't allow that. This is my home too, and I need to be comfortable in my home. So I just told them, like, you need to stay somewhere else. That was a really big step in my life. Like, I never had that strength, I guess, the strength to tell my partner to leave. It's always so scary to ask them to do that, because you don't know what situations they're going to end up in. And, it did end up him going on a bender, but that last bender that he had led him to a lot of realization and sort of a rock bottom for him too. So I guess that's when I realized, okay, these boundaries are important.
What has surprised you about the systems, supports, programs, and services that we have here in our community?
I've gone to quite a bit of AA meetings with my partner. From what I can tell, the support that you have when you walk into those rooms, whether it's AA or Al-Anon, is so amazing. It's so freaking amazing. And there's so many people there who have gone through the motions, who have hit their rock bottom, and now they're there to tell their stories. I've seen so much growth in my partner from going to those meetings. I've seen so much growth in me going to those meetings. I actually really love going to the AA meetings. Al-Anon, I would say that there's probably not enough meetings. There's probably only 2 different meetings, and I think you can do online, but I think that would be one thing that I would sort of suggest, is that with the Al-Anon, I feel like I need it more.
What do you think actually helps people who are struggling with addiction?
I see a lot of, going back to just the topic of going to AA, I see a lot of benefit going to those meetings. And I do find that, like, okay, so people who go to rehab, that's one thing. And I think I will speak on rehab for a second. Like, we definitely don't have enough rehab facilities. We do not have enough of that in St. John. It takes like an entire year to get in. By that point, somebody is probably had overdosed. You know, like, my partner's been on the waiting list for even Campbellton, which is way up north, and that's still like a 3 to 5 month wait. I don't know a ton of information about rehab. I really don't. So I don't think I can, like, speak on it too much. I do know that there's not enough facilities or not enough programs in St. John, and that's very, very frustrating. But when it comes to AA, I do see a lot of benefits, positivity. Like, there's a lot of benefits that you can get from AA, and it's because you're kind of like now in an outpatient program. And now you're kind of using those tools, maybe that you've learned in rehab or maybe in some other inpatient program. Now you're using some of those tools that you've learned there, or like in a detox or whatever, out in the outside world, and really kind of challenging yourself.
If someone is listening right now and they're in a similar situation, what would you say to them?
If they were in a similar situation, first thing to do is find a support group. I would go to Al-Anon right away. There's one on Main Street at the Sophia Recovery Center on the North End, and that's on Thursday nights. And then there's also, that's the one that I go to. And then there's one at St. Mark's Church on the west side, both from 7 to 8 o'clock. Anyways, just a little information for anybody who doesn't know about Al-Anon. Al-Anon is great first step to do if you're in a similar situation. There's a support group there for you, ready to welcome you with open arms, give you a hug. Like, you could be going in there bawling your eyes out. They don't care. They see that, and they will love you, and they will care for you, and they will show you all the support that you need. Also, I'm going to say over and over and over again, take one day at a time. It's not easy. If things get bad, look for your support system. That's number one. Always look for your support system, and always try to look after yourself. Everybody keeps telling me this. Always look after yourself. You just have to do that. It's not easy, but you'll do that by going through your support system. If it is a family or friend member, seek them out too. Like, don't hide this stuff too from your family and friends. Things will get better, but it also takes effort. You know, if you your partner might have to go through recovery, but you also have to go through recovery too. It's really, really huge. Don't just think that this is their problem and this is all their fault. You have to to do a lot of reflection and think about what's best for you.
I just really want to thank you for your openness today. I know these conversations aren't easy, but your vulnerability and honesty are going to make a lot of people feel less alone. I know it impacted me, and I'm really grateful you were willing to share your story. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I really hope it helps.